Throughout the duration of the Star Wars franchise, we have been graced with the presence of some incredibly powerful Jedi Masters, able to utilize their unique alien physiology in tandem with the gifts of the Force to create incredibly formidable warriors across the eon. Yoda's species has a distinct ability to create an unusually strong connection with the Force, while Kit Fisto is able to use his now Tolan heritage to his advantage in multiple aquatic environments. And while each Jedi Master has their own unique talents and abilities, one seems to have garnered a reputation for developing incredibly complex and seemingly unnatural force powers across his career. One of my personal favorite Jedi Masters, we are of course talking about Plo Koon, who seems to be oftentimes overlooked within the grand scope and reputation of the Skywalker family legacy with the likes of Yoda, Obi-Wan, among other famous Jedi Masters, such as Mace Windu, who seems to be staples of their generations, with Plo Koon often overlooked. Though Plo Koon is perhaps not the most famous Jedi Master of the prequel era, he has figured out how to harness the Force to utilize some incredibly unique abilities that seem to escape other Jedi Masters. So stick with us, weary travelers of the galaxy, and let's delve into some of Plo Koon's most unique Force powers. Jedi Master Plo Koon, among being a novel swordsman and fighter, was also able to use the Force to manipulate and alter the foundation of the environment that surrounded him. And while many of his peers were able to use the Force to incite movement between physical and environmental factors, Plo Koon could create dense fogs and manipulate the weather patterns of certain planets with varying degrees of success. The baseline telekinetic ability that numerous Jedi have shown across their careers is still the foundation of this ability, but the level to which they are able to manipulate the atomic matter of various planets drastically surpasses any standard Jedi power. This ability has served Plo Koon well on numerous occasions across the course of the Clone Wars conflict, which saw him traverse the galaxy in service of the Republic and face down separatist forces on a variety of different planets with immensely different environments, which often gave him the upper hand in conflicts when it came to battling the separatist droid army while they were both on unfamiliar terrain, giving Plo Koon the natural advantage over the droids. He had also utilized this ability to alter temperatures in an immediate area to the point of freezing bodies of water or melting ice, which is able to rapidly incapacitate numerous different enemy types in a variety of different ways, as well as serve their own situation-specific functions in any given circumstance, though it's also important to note exactly what made Plo Koon so adept at wielding these abilities, and how it wasn't actually anything unnatural with his connection to the Force that granted him these newfound powers. In fact, Plo Koon's connection to the Force was very similar to a number of his Jedi comrades, and what made him so formidable in combat was his advanced intellect, in fact, not his natural affinity with the Force. Not only was he a gifted Force user though, and lightsaber combatant, but additionally, he was an incredibly intelligent student of physics and natural sciences from the various planets across the galaxy. Plo Koon is one of the most well-learned Jedi in all of Star Wars, giving him a distinct advantage when wielding the Force itself. The level of understanding in regards to the world on a fundamental scientific level allowed him to utilize the Force in the same ways as his peers, only instead of being limited to the basic teachings of the Jedi Code, he was able to manipulate the planets around him on such a minuscule scale that he could produce these incredibly rare effects. His understanding of the natural environment allowed him to use the Force in the same ways as the other Jedi Masters of his era, but he understood exactly how to manipulate the world around him with standard Force abilities in order to produce the desired outcomes, which ranged from tame weather manipulation such as an increase in fog to blatant temperature variance within certain environments that could melt ice and freeze large bodies of water. Perhaps one of his most iconic abilities, however, was known as Force Judgment, which was in essence a light side's answer to Force lightning used by the likes of Dooku and Emperor Palpatine, among other powerful Darksiders and Lords of the Sith. This blast of electrical energy was usually yellow in coloration and was driven by a Jedi's sense of justice and devotion to the balance in the Force, whereas most Darkside abilities were fueled by hatred and anger for an opponent in tandem with the desire to dominate and control as much as possible. Though many of these abilities could very easily be lethal to multiple opponents, especially that of Force Judgment, Plo Koon was incredibly adept at using them to incapacitate his combatants and gain the upper hand in a conflict while only only killing when absolutely necessary. Force Judgment in particular was an ability that he tended to use to stun and knock back his opponents, even when killing them would have been incredibly easy given his immense power scaling compared to the rest of the Jedi Order. Darth Maul himself has even gone on record to claim that Plo Koon was one of the most powerful members of the Jedi Order, and one that he feared the most despite never having come into direct contact with the famed Jedi Master. To garner fear and apprehension from a Sith warrior who killed Qui-Gon Jinn is an immense show of respect towards the Keldor Master, and a true show of just how powerful Plo Koon really was. These powerful and rare abilities would go on to serve him throughout not only the Clone Wars, but the era before the rise of the conflict between the Republic and the Separatist droid army, as Plo Koon died at nearly 400 years old, and was able to see the drastic changes that the galaxy had undergone in the centuries leading up to the Clone War, allowing him to study not only the Force, but the nature of the galaxy on a fundamental level. And this is one of many reasons why Plo Koon, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated Jedi Masters and one of my personal favorite Jedi. His understanding of the world around him as well as the Force allowed him to become one of the most powerful Jedi of his era, not to mention he was already exceptionally gifted and talented at touching the Force itself. But anyway, my friends, what do you think of some of these incredibly fascinating abilities? Why do you think Plo Koon was one of the only Jedi to commonly use some of these powers? Do you think it was strictly due to his intellect, or was there something else at play here? Again, my friends, because of the holiday season, there's a huge sale on the Star Wars merch page. If you would like to get something for yourself or a loved one for this holiday season, it's 15 to half off right now with free worldwide shipping. Be sure to check it out, link in the description down below. As always, my friends, may the Force be with you, and I hope to see you in the next video.